Winners don't use drugs.
Wow. What's up, everyone?
Hello, and thank you for watching the movie tonight.
Connery night. Connery night. First Sean Connery. I've done 2 Nicolas Cage movies, and finally I got to a Sean Connery movie. Oh, shit.
Gun is good.
And boy, was it a awesome Sean Connery movie.
The penis is evil.
This one was Darius' selection.
Yeah, I told you this movie was pretty weird, but honestly, it was weirder than I remembered.
Yeah, weird is a bit of an understatement.
It was avant-garde and indulgent.
It did get very artsy at certain points.
Yeah.
There was a whole bunch of soy in it, and you're a bunch of soy nerds for loving it so much. Sorry, guys, I don't know what happened. The ghost of Jens had just.
I was about to say, Tommy.
Everything.
I was about to say, is Tommy doing an impersonation of someone? I couldn't tell.
This was a soy society. Soy run amok.
Right off the bat.
Yes, so much soy. The men couldn't even shag the women.
There wasn't enough masculine action in it.
All right, Darius Jens is fucking. Darius had Jens is out.
It's the Jens that lives in the back of my mind.
Darius.
We all have that. Just a flexing bicep, at the surface level of consciousness.
Darius, Carol, the co-hosts, and today's guest is Tommy.
I'm so glad Tommy could join us.
Yeah, I'm glad Tommy could sit here and watch this one with us too.
I'm not.
You're not. I take it. I take it. Yeah, this was not one you would rewatch again.
I don't know. I can't say that I would. It was very, very weird.
Zardoz, Darius.
The themes, Tommy. The themes. I thought they would resonate with you.
Oh,
well,
so
you know what? The search for the bone. It was an interesting concept, but it kind of fell flat with me.
It's a warning. It's a warning about letting your society, your civilization, fall to, academic solitude. Too much Twitter.
So when the hell did you first see this, and were you sober at the time, Darius?
I don't think so. I either saw it right when I woke up in the morning, or when I was maybe 4 beers deep, probably 22 years old, on the Independent Film Channel, back when IFC was good.
Okay.
They would show a lot of weird movies, like Train Spotting and stuff, but yeah. I was like, oh, a sci-fi movie with Connery. It was definitely very trippy, psychedelic. It kind of felt like a late 60s, kind of hippie movie, except it was made in the 70s, and so it was more of like a reaction to the hippies.
1974.
Yep. And it was John Borman Unleashed.
Anyone know this guy?
Full custom hot dog. What's
Hello.
going on, man?
How you doing, Full Custom?
Hey, hot dog. Hey, Bone.
I know Bone. How you doing, Bone? How's it going?
Whoa,
Zardoz.
Yes. And
Zardoz,
yes,
Bone.
hot dog. That's
Bone is the only bone that was involved in this review.
Yeah, did you notice they didn't have any pets in the Vortex? They didn't have any dogs. Didn't have any cats.
No, they didn't.
They certainly didn't have any guinea pigs. They had some horses.
But
they
they
didn't
had.
really ride them.
I'm trying to think, because they had the bubble greenhouses. They had the bubble greenhouses. There was nothing on there was no farm or anything.
Yeah, it was sort of like a hydroponic weed lab.
Yeah.
With the bubbles, it just sticking right out of like a, I don't know, early 19th century mansion.
Cherry.
How you doing, Sherry?
Oh, hey, Sherry. But yeah,
Zardoz.
Hot Dog. It's not really a movie about boners being bad. Although
Bones, never heard of this movie.
one of the first lines we hear in the movie is a giant stone head telling a group of
No, not the Stonehead. First, we get drawn-on mustache guy, dude with the drawn-on
Oh,
shorts and
yeah.
the swimming trunks on his head. Yeah, bathing. There's a lot of bathing suits, like men's bathing suits, on people's heads in this movie. Like people
yeah,
are.
yeah. Yeah, the wardrobe was pretty abstract.
I mean, of course, we can't gloss over the red diaper either.
Yeah, Connery wears a red diaper and suspenders.
Not
most of the
suspenders, you
movie.
get the bandoliers.
Oh yeah, bandolier. Yeah.
And you're gonna be seeing a lot of Connery red diaper action.
Well, the red diaper with the bandolier is kind of symbolic of who he is, where he comes from, a world of
Exterminators.
male savagery and violence.
So they're what? They're the exterminators.
Yep, and the rapationators.
Riding around on horses with their red masks, their red gorilla masks.
Yep.
Oh, there's Zardoz. There's Zardoz masks.
Yep, they deliver bullets and bones.
And that's when the Zardoz head comes. Well, we don't. It's going Zardoz,
Zardoz.
Zardoz.
And there's a big floating head hovering over a barren wasteland. And in that wasteland are a bunch of men in red diapers and bandoliers riding on horseback with stone helmets that look like the giant floating head of Zardoz. One on the front and one on the back. Like the Roman god Janus.
And full custom hot dog. Oh, let's not spoil it yet. We got a lot more to talk about.
Yeah. He's not wrong, but we don't want to ruin the
How you
reveal.
doing, Moira?
Oh, yeah, Moira.
We watched Zardoz.
Zardoz.
That opening track is 11 out of 10. Yeah, I bet you Moira's never seen this movie.
Okay, so what does the drawn-on goatee guy say at the beginning? Because I
He says
I had a reboot, so I missed it.
He said he's their god. I think there is an implication what he says because all right, it's his head is kind of bouncing around the screen too. I can't remember everything he said, but he implied that he's also that he's a false god.
Okay.
And the false god is the giant head Zardoz that lands and throws up machine guns at everybody.
Yes, it vomits machine guns at the horsemen. And it says, "The gun is good." And they pick up the rifles and they say, "The gun is good." The penis is evil. The penis is evil.
And these are penis-wielding men saying this.
Yep.
Are we sure they had penises?
We know Connery does.
They wield rifles and rods.
No spoilers yet, but we know Connery has one.
Yeah.
And we also get to see Connery do his thing before, the whole ending.
Right. So he has this long, dark braid of hair and a big old mustache.
And okay, so also, like I was saying, you think, like I was saying before when I looked up the info on this movie, that it was supposed to be Burt Reynolds.
Right.
Yeah, he did look very.
Burt Reynolds.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that the first time I saw it, but that's an interesting point because I can totally see Burt Reynolds in that role every scene of the movie. And it would have worked. It wouldn't have been the same movie.
Who would have had more Me Too's behind the scenes of this movie? Burt Reynolds or Sean Connery?
Ooh. I don't know. What do you think, Tommy?
I think there were some Me Too's on this set.
Maybe.
There were quite a few Me Too's in the movie.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
movie.
it was.
Yeah, this movie was very Me Too-ish.
Didn't
And
make me
so-
uncomfortable at all.
Yeah, you were a little too quiet a couple times. I was worried.
He Me Too'd a girl that was pretty much comatose.
Tommy.
I tell you what, when I was watching this, the most masculine action that I seen was in the beginning with all the guns. After that, it got soy as shit. I don't know how you could watch this and think that there was any masculine action in it. There wasn't.
That's what I said, Tommy. The best part was the beginning, where they fucking ride around on horseback, flexing, shooting guns, and
Okay.
laying the
to that
women.
village. There was nothing but a bunch of soy nerds in that place.
I don't approve of any of this.
Is this gonna turn into being mean territory? I don't know.
No,
if
no.
I want it. I don't know if I want it.
No, I really hope he shows up. Well, if he doesn't show up, we'll tell him to catch the replay. And so, in the Führer, where they're all Furor, not Führer.
Not
They're
Führer.
all- Yeah, no.
Not that Führer.
Where they're all having a gun party. Connery picks up a revolver, points it at the camera, and
Oh, here's Zardoz.
there he is. Zardoz. Zardoz.
Yeah, he announces himself before he lands.
Zardoz. Guns.
Yeah, like piles and piles. Vomits piles and piles of fucking rifles. And then, like an occasional M16, because every once in a while you see someone pick up an M16.
Right.
Well, if they did this movie today, that floating head would be Trump's head. I'm certain of it.
Yeah, and it would be orange.
Okay, there looked like a painting of Trump. One of that painting that he picked up and put his fingers through the eyes of it. That it looked like Trump with like an omelet on his head.
No, that was a Van Gogh.
It
Yeah,
was.
yeah, it was.
Oh,
Or an
okay.
imitation Van Gogh.
Okay, I can't
Or-
say I've seen that one.
Van Gogh. Yes, Bone nailed it.
Yeah.
We made that exact joke while watching it. He
Yeah.
did an Alec Baldwin to the camera. Yes,
Yes, he did.
he absolutely did. And
And Connery probably was 44 when he filmed this.
so he was older than Trump at the time. Trump was only, I think he's around my mom's age, so that was before.
Yeah, but you see, the thing with Connery is he's got that masculinity to him. That's how he was able to nail all those birds in his movie.
Yeah, that's why the world is not enough. It's better than Tomorrow Never Dies, because it's a three-shagger. Hey, there's more shags in this one. And so
Oh my God,
we cut to.
it's getting out of hand already.
So then it fades in on a pile of sand in what looks like a cave, and you see a hand clutching a revolver pokes up through the sand, and a man arises, and we realize, oh, this is Connery or Zed.
Zed. Yes, his name is Zed.
Yep.
Not Zed from Police Academy.
No, and not Zed from Pulp Fiction.
Not Zed from Pulp Fiction.
Who's Zed?
Zed's dead.
Zed's dead, baby. Zed's dead. So he looks around this small cave, and we realize that there's an opening shaped like a mouth with teeth, and two little openings higher up for the eyes. We realize he's inside the head, the floating head.
He's a stowaway in the head of Zardoz.
And you can see clouds outside through the mouth, and he looks around this cave, and he sees the bodies
Short-
of humans.
And Short's head appears. Short's head appears.
He does. And all the people in the cave are inside the head are nude, wrapped in plastic, and motionless. And so we see our first glimpse of plastic wrapped titties.
Yeah. There were quite a few plastic wrapped titties there.
My nightmare.
Yeah, it kind of
Literally.
looked like
Or
they were.
having yours wrapped in plastic, or just plastic wrapped titties in general?
No, I had a nightmare of a lady wrapped in plastic.
Oh,
Oh, like
Yeah, it's terrible.
Twin Peaks.
Oh yeah, she was,
She's
like, upside down.
dead, wrapped in plastic.
Right.
Yeah, essentially that scene was a environmentalist nightmare, being wrapped up in the plastic that they're always preaching against.
Ah,
With
I didn't even
their
think of that.
titties exposed too.
You know, there was a lot of themes, and a lot of them had some pretty obvious symbolism, but I didn't even think of that one. See, that's why I'm
Right.
glad you were here with us, Tommy.
who's the guy that you guys said that the creator of this movie?
Oh, John Borman.
Borman.
Yeah, this is Borman Unleashed, the man who brought us Excalibur.
Produced, directed, written, he did the whole show.
Yep, and this was not based on a novel. This was an original work, written by Borman, produced and directed by Borman. This is all Borman. This is Borman run amok, and Borman has admitted this is his most indulgent work.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Yeah, well, maybe that's where some of the budget went. It was made for $1.57 million in 74. Right, and he said that
It was Hollywood. Of course, cocaine was fucking behind the making of this movie somehow.
Oh yeah, and like any visionary auteur director, he said he didn't have quite the budget to make it the way he wanted it to be. But
Are we
there's
getting
no-
Anakin quotes here?
yeah, I hate sand. It's coarse. It gets everywhere. I like it here where everything is soft. That's
Why
where
you
Carol's
that
like,
weird?
"Eh." Yeah.
Yeah, I'm ready to go home now. My mom's calling. Dinner's ready. I gotta
need
set
an
the
adult.
table.
Yeah, with Padme's uncomfortable expression.
Okay, so
I
he's a
forgot we were just-
stowaway. He's a
Yeah, he's-
stowaway
And
in Zardoz's head, and then Swim Trunks guy is all of a sudden they're talking shit to him,
yeah,
but like right near the mouth, the open mouth of Zardoz while they're floating in the air. I don't remember what he says to Connery. What does he say to Connery there?
something like "I am your god."
Okay, but
Yeah.
Connery shoots him.
Yeah, he kills God, and
Well,
he shoots him, and the guy falls out of the mouth and just kind of floats there, flailing his arms for a moment before
yeah,
disappearing.
he goes flying. He goes kind of like flying backwards, the way like Zod would in like Superman 2, like when they're fighting in the air and shit. Like
Yeah. Oh,
he doesn't just drop.
so as far as like the setting and the effects in this movie, I was reading that not only is there obviously no CGI in this movie, but I don't think there's any like post-processing effects either. I think all the effects were done in the camera while shooting.
Well, what about the giant floating Zardoz head?
That was probably wire work.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So not like stop motion like we saw in RoboCop and RoboCop 2, but yeah, like everything, all the effects were done like during the shooting. So like all the projections of things, it wasn't overlays; it was projected in the shot.
What did you think about the effects in this movie?
I really liked them. You know, as you know, I've had sort of a not a rejection, but you know, like my education is in like 3D modeling and animation. So like, you know, you'd think that I'd be all about the CGI, but it should not be used for everything, and it's been used as a crutch for years. And now they don't even spend the time that it takes on it. You know, like Jurassic Park looks better than Black Panther because they knew how to do it right. They knew when to use animatronics so that, you know, it feels real. and when to pull back from like a model.
Are you
This
talking about
was
the new Jurassic Park?
I'm talking about the original Jurassic Park.
Oh.
It had CGI, but most of the dinosaurs were actually like animatronic.
Oh.
The only CGI shots were like the T-Rex running or the dinosaurs from a distance, walking around grazing the herd. So they used CGI from a distance because they knew that close up it wouldn't look very good. Now they don't even think about that. They'll do a close up. They'll replace the superhero in his costume with like a 3D model, and they'll do a close up. But they rush it to the theater, so they don't even have time to like do all the necessary passes to make it really look good. So not only is this obviously not using CGI as a crutch, but I really appreciate the practical effects and and the set design. So even though it's not like it doesn't look like a big budget special effects movie, I liked it. I liked that it felt real.
I thought it was good for 70s effects. Not bad.
They even had the holographic ring.
What did you
right?
think, Carol? You thought it at least looked decent? Carol, you with us?
Yeah. I'm still here. But
You didn't think anything was
Thank God I didn't want to break out the ghost of Carol.
Hey DJ, how you doing? It says Zardoz in the thumbnail.
I'm just saying, Slasher.
You seen the
Special
film?
effects can't make up for some real titties.
All right, well we had special effects and titties. There was a lot of titties in this movie. I noticed there was
Yeah.
I noticed there was no big titties in this movie. I noticed all the
Oh.
titties in this movie were small titties.
That was probably intentional because of the society that we arrive at, and the nature of that
Because
society.
of the soy, Darius. Because of the soy.
Well, okay. If
it's
soy has estrogen, then it should make the titties bigger.
So big tits would be offensive. So Dolly Parton would be executed if she were to live in this society.
She'd be considered a mutant.
No, because the mutants were all men.
Well, yeah, because of the way it was structured. But yeah,
The Diaper clan is all men, and they're mutants.
Connery was a mutant. He says that his mother was a mutant and she was allowed to breed. Only selected individuals were allowed to breed.
Of the Diaper clan?
Right. Yeah. So only specific people were allowed to breed, which is why he was breeding so much. And but yeah, he inherited the mutation from his mother.
Okay,
Which is why
so
he was so strong.
So I guess select members of the exterminators were mutants, or maybe not all of them.
No, the rest were like what we call useful idiots, or drones. To refer back to the Wicker Man from last week, where the men were all drones.
Well, the women were kind of drone-ish too.
Kind of, but it is another matriarchal society. In this case, even more of a soy society than the
That's
Wicker
how
Man.
we got to this movie, Darius, because we watched the Wicker Man and you brought up the similarity to Zardoz.
Right. Well, in the Wicker Man, they used the bees as like a metaphor, right, for the whole movie being a honey trap, and also for the queen bee and the men all being drones. They did all the manual labor, whereas in this movie, the manual labor was done by the men, but it was done outside of their civilization, right? Outside
Are
of
the
their
men who like
community.
to show their nipples just as much as the women do?
Right.
There's the guys wearing nipple shirts.
I felt all this talk about nipples. We needed another one on the screen.
Yeah, and there was even like a hint of like human of really the origin of civilization, right? Of going from hunter gatherers to an agrarian lifestyle. But that comes in toward the end, right?
No,
Because
there
they're
weren't
basically hunters.
There were no mutant titties, boy.
Sadly, no. Hey, sure, he found the Dr. Farnsworth Zardoz avatar. Nice. I didn't even notice that until just now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's his outfit with the fucking hooker boots and all. The thigh-high hooker
Yep.
boots.
Okay, so he's in the head, and he shot the guy with the shorts on his head. There's a bunch of
and the drawn-on goatee.
yeah, and the drawn goatee. There's a bunch of people around him, but they're just kind of motionless, wrapped in plastic.
Yeah.
So the head it keeps flying, but it begins to descend, and it sets down. Where's it?
It's a
where does it-
society. It lands in society.
Yeah, on the edge of the soy society. At first, we don't really know what this place is. It's the first time we see buildings, right? It looks like old, like 19th century British architecture, except there's these plastic, what do you call them? Like bubble domes, but they're like tubes with the dome on the top.
They're like greenhouses.
Yeah. It's like bubble greenhouses sticking out of this this mansion. And we see there's like plants inside. And so he doesn't know what he's looking at. He's never seen anything like this. He's probably never seen a building before. And and he doesn't do a lot of talking.
And yeah,
in the movie.
basically that's what it is.
Yeah.
They're immortal.
Exactly. Yeah, they were mortal, so they didn't really have to reproduce most of the time. But they get a little more into that. So he walks into the building with all the greenhouse bubbles, and he sees there's like dangling bubbles and like spear bubbles. They all have plants inside, and one of them looked like it looked like a quadruple nutsack, but it had. It's the only way I can describe it. It had like it was like sort of pinched at the top. It had like these 4 bulbs around it, and it had like plants suspended inside. So it looked I'm pretty sure I've seen trap houses like that in Detroit. So this is like the trap house. It's like a hydroponics lab, and he walks through.
They're sleeping around the whole
Sleeping
area.
around.
He goes into the house.
Yeah, and he discovers what looks like a bedroom. And
It was a nice room.
yeah, it kind of looked like my old bedroom, but yeah, it's like a window at one end, and there's all kinds of stuff in it though, like there's trinkets and toys and little mechanical devices all over the place. It was almost as much as Tommy's bedroom.
Hello,
And,
new mom.
Hey, new bum. The fuck did I just walk into?
Zardoz.
Have you seen Zardoz? Zardoz.
Zardoz.
And
It's a giant head that throws up guns on people.
Yeah. And there's like some like mandala poster on one of the walls, but he finds this wooden box with a mirror inside. So he's looking at his own reflection, and then he flips up another mirror, and then inside he finds a ring. It was like a silver ring.
You got tower rings in this movie.
Well, it was like a silver ring with a big fat zirconium on it.
You know what it looked more like to me? It looked like one of those candy rings, except clear.
It probably was.
Yeah, it kind of did.
It probably was.
Big old rock. But when he puts it on, it projects a hologram into midair with text saying like, yeah, like what is needed. Like I think it was like an inventory list of stuff that was needed, like apples
First
and.
thing we got was an inventory list. Yes.
Yeah, and carrots. But you immediately notice that everything is spelled a little differently. 6 editions of Merriam-Webster from now. So, to me, that gave me a sense of like the passage of time, and that hundreds of years have gone by, and that common words have different spellings. But he obviously, or we assume that he can't read. And doesn't know. He has a look of shock, like he doesn't really know what's going on, but he's curious. And
how long is it before he says a word? I didn't even.
It's a while.
I didn't even really count the minutes going by before he even said his first line of the movie.
Yeah, no, he's not very talkative throughout the whole movie. He does the most talking near the end. But
I think that is a damn crime, because they really could have leaned into this a lot more, and they could have went, "You damn dirty feminists."
Right. Well, see, there's your problem. You got women in charge.
You can't have no bird in charge of the masculine action because it ain't gonna work. Because there's no bird that's gonna take out a guy. It's just not gonna happen.
Yeah, see, he should have just gone in and taken over the whole place. Who's gonna stop him? Even the men were soy.
If I would have went in there, they would have seen what a real man looked like, what masculine man. And they would have bowed down to me.
Okay.
New bomb. No, we love Jens. That's why he's with us. There's a little piece of him that lives within us. And so,
Somebody's got to let Jens know because we got to get his reaction to how we did him. We got to see if we did him right.
Well, Darius said he's live now in the private chat. Oh no, sorry. Sorry, Carol. Swamp. I thought Darius
Okay.
said.
oh, okay. So we'll have to have him catch the replay.
Yeah, sorry, Jens. I didn't know you're gonna. Or whatever. We're talking about a soy movie. So.
Yep.
You want to watch
streaming right
it?
now.
What was it? It wasn't a soy movie. It was fighting back against soy. So he
Right.
would have liked it then. It's fighting back against the soy. So
Right,
he
he's
would've liked
the rogue element, entering the society. And so the next hologram that pops out of the ring is another guy with shorts on his head. And none of the men in the society have beards or any kind of facial hair.
But they all look like those sickly-looking Calvin Klein models from like the '90s. Those black and white Calvin Klein ads.
I'll tell you what, they were all like a few inches away from being Ezra Miller.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely.
I'm surprised they weren't carrying a Merce. And so the voice is telling him like who he is, and he freaks out because it zooms into the eye of the hologram, and that freaks Sean Connery out, or Zed freaks Zed out. So he like covers the ring with his hand, and then
Broken quite a bit.
fucking yeah. And every time he uncovers it with his hand, the hologram resumes. And you see like the eyeball projected, like on his forehead, like a third eye projected on the wall. He doesn't like that. But I think he takes the ring with him, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Wait, does he have pockets? He doesn't even have pockets.
Hey, how the hell are you gonna have pockets in that fucking diaper, bro? It was like half diaper, half Speedo.
Yeah, it's true. He never goes to the bathroom in the movie. So
Oh, he doesn't.
yeah.
Yeah,
so-
but we also see that there's nobody goes to the bathroom, not even the immortals.
yeah, they've solved that problem, I guess.
There's no three seashells in this. There is no three seashells.
Okay, so where does he go when he leaves the house?
He's trekking around in the woods, and that's when we see he's using. Well, first he's using the ring in the house, but then when he's outside, he's using the ring too.
Ah, yes.
Who's the first person he stumbles? I can't even remember the first person he stumbled. Oh,
It was the girl on the horse,
yes,
the one that
yes,
once,
yeah, by the water,
towards the end,
by the water, and she
Oh,
does
Charlotte
her,
Rampling?
she does her mental powers to him and fucking wears him down.
Oh, yeah. That was Charlotte Rampling, right?
I didn't know her name. You said the name.
Oh, dude.
Other than Connery, I don't know anyone's name in this fucking movie.
Like she still looks pretty as an old lady, but she was smoking in '74. Oh my lord! And is everyone else wearing their Zardoz brand diapers for the show? You know it.
Well, that's the thing, hot dog. When you're as masculine as old Jens here, you could wear diapers and still look manly.
And yeah, so he encounters her, the brunette, and who I believe is in charge? Is she in charge, or is there like a council in
Who
charge?
was in charge? Honestly, thinking about this whole fucking movie after watching it and going back to their whole fucking stupid ass civilization, who was in charge?
I think it's just a council because they can all communicate telepathically. They're all psychic, by the way.
and they can all fuck each other up too mentally.
Yeah.
They can all fucking.
They take a vote for everything, and they vote in their mind. So it's like taking a poll, and so yeah, he comes upon her, and she just stares him down, and basically knocks him out with her psychic powers.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden he's laying on a massage table with his hands behind his fucking head, like he's ready to see a fucking happy ending.
Yeah, he's manspreading.
But he's in the room where they're showing his memories on a giant screen.
Yep, they can read his memories.
And boy, do they go to a memory of his.
Yep. At first, you see a bunch of horse riding and shooting people, galloping down the beach. But then he spots a woman on the beach, and he rides up to her and throws a net over her.
A la Planet of the Apes.
It's awful.
Yes. There was a little bit of Planet of the Apes in this.
Planet of the Grapes.
Planet of the Soy.
Because he grapes her.
Yeah, he does.
Oh.
And all of the women in this society, the society is called Vortex, and
They
they're
seem to get a kick out of that memory. They wanted to see more.
right because we soon come to learn that they don't experience lust in this society. They don't get aroused. The men don't get boners. The women don't get wet. I guess they so they don't copulate.
Well, that's what happens when you have a society built on soy, Darius. They're surrounded by a bunch of soy nuts. Now, if they had a real man going there with a real masculine man, they would just drop it for that real man. You'd see.
That was half Jens, half Schwarzenegger.
I know. I started almost dying trying to do that. I'm cracking up. I'm losing the voice for it.
Zombie's right, Slasher. Fucking a man like that walks in, they'd all drop the panties for him.
Because that's what those birds like.
And so they're looking at his memories, and they're just kind of like detached.
You guys gotta stop with that shit. I'm dying over here.
When they see his memory, for some reason his memory is kind of in the third person, but whatever. They see him, giving the lady some dolphin love, and they're just like, "Oh, look at that. How about that?" And they just sort of, talk to each other. They're like, "Oh, he's a brute. He's a savage brute," and he's still awake. By the way, he's just sitting there with his arms crossed behind his head, waiting for his beach that never comes.
Yeah.
And
hands behind his head is like, come on now. I've been waiting.
So then they move him into an even bigger room, and so they get a bigger crowd to come in and look at his memories, and they just play it again. They're like, wow, look at that. How about that? Ain't that something? And we see the first man from the society, the soy society, if you want to call him a man.
Yes, he is. He's very grapish.
That was no man. Fucking, that was a soy boy.
Oh, June 28th?
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I am so glad, Slasher, that you don't have asthma. Because there's a few minutes when me and Darius are going back and forth. If you would have had asthma, there would have been an attack.
Well, when you just fucking drop it out of nowhere, it's fucking, I can't stop.
Dude, Tommy made me laugh till I choked at one point. He was quiet for a really long time, and then he dropped a joke.
Let's stop turning this into the bash.
It's not bashing. It's homage.
This is a celebration of Jens.
It's a tribute.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's a tribute.
it's a tribute. We're gonna tell him to watch this later.
Jens, I had nothing to do with this.
I didn't think it.
She was egging me on, Jens, the entire time.
I had nothing to do with this.
Is the kind of
You
movie
should
where
see this. You should see the private chat, Jens. It was ridiculous.
I'm a liar.
Tommy always drops big ones.
Oh, what's up, Harry?
Hey, Parrot. And
Get me in
so-
trouble.
the guy, he's got obviously he's smooth baby face and he's got this shaggy blonde hair.
Oh,
And and the men in the society are basically wearing dresses, with like deep V-necks.
No, they're wearing Victoria's Secret tops.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Or
They're wearing
some,
nipple shirts.
yeah.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Carol made sure to make mention of the dress shirt that he had on.
Oh, yeah. Well, also, remember when they were all standing in line? They were like standing in like and they had like their hands on their hips too. Like it was a fashion show. This looked like a fucking fashion show. So much of this fucking movie looked like a fucking fashion show.
And it wasn't even a good fashion show. Remember, Carol was talking about that looks like a Dollar General type of dress top.
I was about to say it looked like a very stupid fashion show. They're wearing swimming trunks on their head.
Not sure that's what
Right.
I said, but okay.
Right, but I think that's part of the critique in the movie is that they are dressed ridiculously.
Like every one of them, also like in their everyday clothes, they had that what's that barbarian thing, that the gladiator barbarian thing that comes down over your balls? Was it a tunic or a what's it called? Like the thing that He-Man has, or like the Knights
Thing that
thing.
comes down over your balls.
Yeah,
I don't
the
have
knight-
anything like that.
No, the Knights type thing.
Oh,
I know what
codpiece.
it's called.
Kind of like that. The women are wearing cod pieces.
Oh,
But it's just a strap of leather. But yeah, all the chicks are wearing it.
The men are wearing cod pieces and the women are wearing cod pieces.
and no bras. Not that they really
no,
needed them in this movie.
Well,
No,
Slasher, every last one of them was in transition. And if you were a
They all looked like they were in
proper
transition.
British, you would understand that.
They all looked like they were in transition.
Well, yeah, a little bit because in this society where they don't mate anymore. All the men were more feminized and the women were kind of
And all the
defeminized.
women had weird faces too. I thought all the women had very weird, alien-like faces.
I thought Charlotte Rampling had a smoking hot face.
Harry's like Cindy Lou Who.
Yeah, she wasn't bad either. So this is 1974. There's a woman in the movie that has like almost like the Princess Leia buns.
There
in
was
her
a
hair.
couple of them that had the Princess Leia ones.
Right. 3
Only
years
one
before
Cindy
Star
Lou Who.
Wars. Yeah, she looked like Cindy Lou Who, and she was checking him out. She was just looking him up and down,
A
smiling.
lot of them were checking him out.
Yeah, well, she was really all about it. And so they're looking at the memories again, and then you see a projection of some weird abstract geometry, and they say that that's his genetic code, that he's a mutant. I don't know if I don't think they say what the mutation is, but he's like he's special. Basically, he has some kind of mutation.
He carries the gift of death.
And
Right.
Now, you know what? I'm pretty sure that his mutation was the extra testicle, and that's how we get what we get later on. Because he sure wasn't tired, so he was loading up. He was
Loading
firing
up.
more than Alec Baldwin at a movie set.
Infinite stamina. Yeah. So yeah, a lot of the women are pretty taken with him. They've never seen a real man before, of course, and
Also, the men are taken with him too, dude. Because the one guy takes him under his wing.
yeah. Well, it seems like he just wants slave labor, but it also kind of seems like he's checking him out.
Yeah.
Yeah, Turk is right. He gets boners. He is special. That's another thing. I think he's also super strong.
We got a diagram too of the boner in the movie.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
showing it on like a projection.
PowerPoint presentations.
Yeah, she's like, Now, this is what the penis looks like. Now, he has a special ability where the penis becomes like this, and then it cuts to like a drawing of a boner, and they're like,
Go,
wow.
gadget boner.
They're like, ooh, wow, okay. And so they're like, oh, what should we do with him? You know, should we destroy him? And no, let's not destroy him. Let's,
Well, the
you know.
girl you like really wants to destroy him.
She
She's
does.
number one on the list of who wants to destroy him.
Yeah, she's like, we must destroy him. He's a savage brute. Oh, and she's like talking about, no one knows what causes this to become this, meaning the boner. There's a chemical reaction in the brain, but it is unknown what causes the stimulation. And so they have him stand there looking at the screen, and
Well, she's saying maybe we should study him to find out why.
yeah. So they already are studying him, and it's almost kind of like a polygraph, like a boner polygraph. You see like this. See this jagged line moving around in the middle, and she shows him pictures of like
A bonograph.
It's a bonograph. Yeah. So she cuts to like some softcore porno. We see a close up of a woman in the shower soaping up her titties.
Yeah, the first thing is a close up of tits in the shower.
Those are the biggest titties in the movie, by the way.
And then there's mud wrestling.
Yeah, total full body mud wrestling.
Slow motion mud wrestling.
Right.
I tell you what, all we needed was Ox to come out.
Yeah, so the mud wrestlers are like caked from hair to toe in gray mud, and it doesn't even move the line on the bonograph. It doesn't do anything for him. And then as you see, he's like wide-eyed, not blinking, staring at it, but it's not exciting him. And then he turns to look at her, and the line starts to move. And she gets a little mixed feelings about this. And one of those feelings is uncomfortable. So she sends him away.
All right, but they keep him in like a zoo cage outside, literally in a cage next to monkeys.
That also felt like Planet of the Apes.
And then she comes out and starts like petting him through the cage, and he's like smacks her hand away, or like grabs her hand.
Oh yeah.
And then we get to see that there's some sexual tension going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the women seem to like his aggression.
She hates him, but she loves him at the same time.
Yep.
It's like a Batman, Catwoman type deal.
Yeah, well, I think he's making her realize things about herself that she never knew, and she's not sure how to deal with that.
He definitely draws things out of her that she never knew, because we get soy-barians at the end of this fucking movie.
Barbarians.
You see, Slasher, the women like it when you're aggressive.
Because
don't
nobody
want
likes
some
a
soy. Women don't respect a simp. They fucking like a real man. Okay. We love Jens. Yeah, so the next thing that I remember now.
Just seriously, you guys.
Okay, well, so the next thing I remember is
I can't keep laughing.
Is the psychic soy boy basically wants to put him to work.
He has a very particular interest in him and wants to keep him around for, what was his original trial? He had a certain amount of days.
Like 7 days?
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, yeah, because they did that. But so that is after they have the council meeting. Yeah, where they have nothing but fruit to eat. No meat, just all fruit. And
they had fruit. Anyway.
Yeah, that's all that's out on the table. And so it's like 90% women around this table, and like, a couple men, but they're like, We should destroy him. No, we should study him. Let's put it to a vote. So they take a poll, and they all gear up their brains, and they have a psychic vote. And they decide that they will study him for a short period of time. And they put the soy boy in charge.
And he just wants to basically use him as a fucking mule.
Yeah, literally. He even attaches a rickshaw.
Hooks up a fucking wagon to him.
Yeah, it's like a rickshaw. And he's like, all right, pull. And but we know he has great strength and stamina, so he pulls him along, and he...
Well, actually, the first thing he does is whip him.
Oh, that, yeah.
When they're like going on a mission, and all of a sudden they turn around the corner, and he fucking whips him. I can't remember what he asked him after he whipped him.
Yeah, I don't remember. It's a little BDSM moment. And so he puts him on the rickshaw and makes him pull him to the bakery. Where you see a bunch of people working, putting these big, long, knotted breads in the oven and taking them out.
Did anyone notice, too, that some of that bread was green?
Yeah, I noticed that.
Loaves.
Yeah. But like so all the bread was braided, but it was like big and long. It to me it felt like a phallic symbol. And it was ribbed for her pleasure.
He's also throwing it in people's faces everywhere he goes.
I don't know if you noticed something else when they were actually passing the bread around the table. Did you see that they passed it off until it got to the one woman, and then she was the one that broke the bone? I mean, bread. Yeah. But yeah, Slasher's right. He gets they're transporting the bread. Oh yeah, so
he's not handing it to people. He's throwing it in their. Well, actually, when they get to the town of the catatonics.
Right. So yeah, they're carrying the bread over there to just this barn full of people, motionless, totally apathetic and catatonic. I think they're actually called the apathetics. They're people who are so bored because everyone's immortal here. They never age and they never die.
This guy could put some person's own hand on their own shoulder, and they'll just leave it there.
Yeah, they don't do anything. They just stand there motionless all day, every day. And he's like, "See, this is what we need the bread for." And so we find out that Zed has been farming the wheat for this bread, and that they used to be like hunters. And, well, they still were hunters. They ate meat for themselves, but they were put to work farming, growing the wheat.
No idea why they were growing the wheat.
Right, because they didn't eat the meat out there. They just ate, they didn't eat the bread out there. They only ate meat. Zed only ate meat.
We ate meat.
Right. So that's another thing. And yeah, so all the wheat came here to Vortex and got made into bread. So they bring the bread to the catatonics, and he's like trying to wrap a mind around this, how there are people so bored, they've given up on life, and they don't move, they don't care about anything anymore, man. And he grabs one of the apathetic women, and he carries her over his shoulder to a pile of hay in the corner, and he throws her down.
Yeah, just like you could take
a rag doll.
Yeah,
like a rag doll.
But the mental power guy, immortal guy, is just like, just take her.
Oh yeah.
He does. He doesn't hesitate. He immediately picks her up.
Yeah, immediately.
He's very grapey in this movie.
Right. So he's getting ready to give her the dolphin love, and and the psychic guy tells him that these are apathetics. They don't care about anything. They've given up on life. And Zed looks down at the woman.
That's when you made the comment that he likes screaming.
Right, yeah. No, she's not moving. She's not fighting him off. She's not participating with him. She's not doing anything. And so he loses interest. He stops what he was about to do. So either he wants her to participate or he wants her to struggle. But with her doing nothing, he
totally kills his mood.
Yeah, kills his mood.
You can't get a boner.
Bitch, don't kill my vibe. Bitch, don't kill my vibe.
You can't get a boner from that.
No. And so, almost symbolically, he goes over. He like flips the cart over, and he picks up the giant, phallic bread loaves, and he starts throwing them around. Just tossing the dick around. And the psychic guy is amused by this.
Well, he also brings him to the renegades to deliver some bread.
Right. So yeah, they take what's left of the bread to this building on the outskirts of the vortex.
Full of old people
Yep. Behind big glass windows.
in like dusty ass tuxedos.
Yeah, they all look like they're dressed for the Edwardian age with like those popped collars, but they're like detached, and they have like bow ties, and they look like they're from the 20s to the 40s, the way they're dressed, but they're all older, and they've all gone senile. And on the way there, he explains to Zed that everyone is immortal and they never age here.
Well,
he witnessed a brief.
They can aid you though. The council,
Right.
the council can aid you they have when they do their little sentencing for people.
Right, because he had witnessed a brief
5 years.
Right, because as they were leaving the catatonics, they or the apathetics, he saw like a woman and a man like just sort of groaning at each other around in a circle, and so we realized that like the man was psychic and was doing something to the woman, and then the crowd rushes them and they pick the man up and carry him away, and Zed says, "Won't he be punished?" And the soy boy says, "Oh yes." He's like, "Will he be thrown in prison?" Like, no. He's like, "Well, how do you punish people?" So basically, they in order to like, instead of having court, they just discuss things endlessly, right? They just have like endless, basically talking, right? They just talk it out for a really long time, and then when they finally arrive at a decision, the punishment is not prison,
it's aging.
Aging. Like, so he says, yeah, he'll probably be given 30 years in prison. No, of aging. And so that you never age until you're punished, and then they age you. And when you get old enough, they drop you in here in the with the renegades. People who are like senile, they probably don't remember why they're there or where they came from. And we soon realize that they want to die, but they can't. In fact, Zed even asked him.
Did you notice that when a lot of them got close to each other, they were sniffing each other's hair, and I could have swore I heard one of them say, "Come on, man."
That's a bunch of malarkey.
There was also a lot of licking too. They like licking.
Yeah. And Zed had asked him, "What's up, Tim?" "Hello there."
Hi, Tim.
Guinea pigs are Halos too.
Never
Zardoz
going to
is the
happen.
juxtaposition of Connery's brute versus the soy immortals. Yeah, well, kind of, except that he has the journey, right? So you still have the brutes versus the soy immortals, but he kind of walks the middle path by the end. And so he asks him like, well, how do they know you won't just kill yourself? And he's like, oh, they would just rebuild my body if I did that. Like they can just if you die or kill yourself, or well, if you Minecraft yourself, then yeah, they can just put you back together and fix you up. So they'll age you, but then they don't let you die. That's your punishment.
That's why he brings the gift of death.
Right. So we already have people who have lived so long they're bored. We have people who have lived a long time and aged so much that they want to die but can't. So we've already set all that up. And then I think, is that when he sneaks away and finds the force field?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
I forget what they were calling it. They didn't exactly say force field. They said something else.
Yeah, it's low budget, but he sneaks away and finds like on a hill above this lake. He encounters the barrier. There's like a voice talking to him. It's like, oh, you're approaching the barrier, and he encounters it. And when it's a side shot, it's just Connery pretending to put his hands up against some invisible solid wall. But then when it's like a straight on shot, they actually had a pane of glass where you see him pressing his hands and face against this invisible barrier, right? But it's impenetrable. He can't get through.
And then what was the next scene? I forget what the next scene was. Like right after that, oh, there was something else. It went to some sort of other crazy shot.
Carol, do you remember?
You were the
I
one
think
that
that's what I started to check out.
you were the one that pointed out, Darren.
Well, I remember him like walking up to like a beach and standing under a tree. I think that was earlier. What was the crazy shot?
It went from a 1-2 shot of him pounding on the glass.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yes. Yeah. So you see him pressed up against this invisible barrier, right? And then it immediately cuts back to the renegades, and you see them behind this pane of glass, which a window. And so the cut marks this juxtaposition of the barriers, and so they're all in prison. Not only are the renegades sort of imprisoned in this building that they can't leave, but the entire society of Vortex is basically imprisoned in their own bubble, their own force field.
But also, is this before or after? Because blonde dude gets eventually turned against by the council.
Oh,
He gets aged right in front of Connery. They all stand up and age him right in front of Connery.
Right. So they go back and they're like they're having a vote on it. They're not really happy with him, so they because he's serving them. He's serving them like food. Connery, he's working around the he's like a
because
he's like a house brute.
Because he's taken so much of a shine to Zed, aka Connery.
Right. And
that he's like, he's kind of like, be my right hand man, be everywhere I am,
Right, and it makes Charlotte Rampling uncomfortable, and so she's like, "What's he still doing here? Like, what's he doing here?" And like, "Oh, well, he ain't hurting nothing," and she insists that we all do our own work ourselves. She's mad because the blonde guy, the soy boy, he got Zed to do some of the work in like preparing the meal and stuff, and she doesn't appreciate that because they're all supposed to do their own work because that's how everyone stays equal.
But then she also gets really pissed when Connery like ignores what she's bitching about, and he's like, potatoes.
Yeah. She just gets mad, and so they have another vote, and they turn on him, and they have sort of like a short psychic fight, I think, where like they're getting into his head, and he
well, they all end up standing up and aging him, fucking him up.
Right. And so they take another vote, and they sentence him to punishment of 50 years. Dun dun dun.
50 years equates to half his face, because half his face is old.
Yeah, they don't do it evenly, because the next thing you see is Zed goes down to the renegades, and he's there, but only half of his face is old. The other half is still young.
Yeah, it's like old enough to be like sagging off, and half his hair is gray.
Yeah, and he's in like a tuxedo with the collar open, and
got one glove on.
Yeah. And so for the rest of the movie, his voice becomes like a cross between Connery himself and Tom Hardy's Bane.
Yeah, he starts actually doing Connery voice at one point.
This is all your fault.
Yeah, he's out Connerying Connery at one point.
Nobody cared who I was till half my face got old.
You feel it, George?
You merely adopted the dark. I was born in it. Molded by it.
Then again, Bane basically does sound like electronic Sean Connery.
Yeah. I know Tim likes Bane, or he likes the impression. Yeah, so he's like, "This is all your fault." Oh yeah, and then they turn on him, right? Then they all come to it. They try to attack him, and he has to fight them off. And they're like, "We want to die." Yes, we want to die. Give us the gift of death.
They bring him to the old man. There was the old man they had lying up in the fucking ICU or whatever the fuck.
Yeah. And he's like, "Please give me the gift of death."
See, it was around this point where I started like trailing off because I was like, shit is just going on now that I don't know what the fuck to explain.
You were like, "Darius, this movie is weird as hell." I'm like, yeah.
Especially when they, oh god, what when there were the scenes of them, groups of people just moaning like fucking idiots,
Yeah.
I couldn't take it. Oh my god!
Might as well have been a ree.
Like if I do watch this again, I will say I will fast forward through those parts.
Or just get really baked, or drop some acid when you watch it.
I don't know. Maybe it's also because I was wearing a headset all times.
You know what? From that one, when you watch that scene, just imagine Yen saying "so" the whole time they're moaning. It'll be tolerable then.
I think I saw Lissoy Lewok walking around the village somewhere.
God damn it! That's infringement. Infringement.
All right, so but yeah, no, he gets out of there, and then trying to remember the very next thing. Is that when the redhead with the freckles talks to him?
I'm not gonna lie, this is really where I lost track because there's
Okay.
so much going on.
I think that's
the one who seems like the main woman, like where she like he walks in and she's standing under a bed sheet with
the
her arm-
redhead. Yeah, because like the brunette and the redhead are like the top two, it seems. But yeah, so the redhead with the freckles is there, the one who does the voice of Kreia in Knights of the Old Republic, and yeah, she's got like that big hippie sheet around her, and she's like, "Come talk to me," and she wants to ask him some questions, right? She wants to give him a little interrogation. So she throws the sheet like over his head, and it's sheer, so you can still like see through it.
Yeah, of
And
course.
so they're under the blanket together, and she asks him like, how did you? Oh yeah, like what gave you the idea to jump into Zardoz's head? And so he explains it to her. Well, you see, it's.
I wanted the truth.
I wanted the truth. Yes, the Zardoz gives guns and bones, but I wanted the truth.
He's like, you wanted revenge.
Right. You wanted revenge.
And then, like,
Revenge.
next thing you know, like, after his head trip and everything, like, they're, like, he's laying flat on the bed, and she's, like,
Well,
almost
he tells her about the books.
but, yeah, but then, like, we see at one point, she's in, like, getting ready for 69 position, like,
Yeah.
get on his face.
Yeah, she's got her titties out.
Yeah.
Somehow, while she's, like, probing his mind, she's
And
just,
he's struggling,
getting ready.
and he's struggling.
Yeah, and she's like, he tells her about, sometimes he's like, all we did was, we hunted, we killed the brutes of the wasteland, and
that's when she's like, what did you do? We grew wheat. It's like, did you eat any of it? No, we ate meat.
we ate meat, because we know the wheat came to the village. So they were basically slave labor at that point. They weren't just like before. They just like hunted. Well, they hunted animals for their own meat, but they just killed all the people roaming around out there.
Well, they also became slave gatherers. They're
Right.
gathering the slaves to work on.
Right. Right. So they instead of killing everyone, they started gathering them as slaves to and then becoming farmers. So they would grow the wheat, and then they would take the slaves to grow the wheat. So yeah, they went from being hunter-gatherers to basically being like overseers of an agrarian society. And so then you see one time he's riding through a village, and all these buildings are abandoned, but he sees like a face up in a window.
Yeah, weird mask.
He says, "One day I lost my innocence." And yeah, it looks like a sack over someone's head, and he shoots them.
I thought at first he hit him when he got through the window at first, but then he goes.
I thought so too.
inside.
We were afraid that it was like a child.
Yeah.
Luckily,
That's
it wasn't.
exactly what I thought it was. That's exactly what I thought it was a kid.
Right, because he said he lost his innocence.
Exactly. That's exactly what
But
made
it's
me
not.
think.
It's not quite what it was. So he goes in the building. He goes up the stairs and you see. There was like what did it say? There was like a plaque on the wall. I can't remember what it said.
Well, we see mask guy is waving him towards him. Like,
Right.
peeks out, waves him towards him.
And so yeah, lures him in. He's got his trusty revolver, and he walks in. Basically, he's walking into a library, between like a labyrinth of books, and he's got his revolver out, and he looks down at the end. Yes, lads and ladies, eat more meat. And he sees like a hand at the end holding up a book.
Oh, it is
And
barbarians.
He pulls up the revolver, and then the other hand comes out, telling him to stop. So he doesn't shoot. And then the hands both move away, and the book just floats there in midair. And he walks up to it, and he sees it's like the alphabet. So the book is teaching him the alphabet. Like B is for, bullet.
D is
D
for
is
diaper.
Yeah. F is for fornicate. And he flips through it, and it's it's sort of condensed visually, but he's learning the alphabet. Next thing you know, he's read every single book on every shelf of every stack in this library, and so he's we find out, and he's actually learned. He has
By the
learned
way,
from the books.
I call bullshit that he read every single book on that stack, because we saw when he was throwing books across the fucking thing, they were still covered in dust. There's no way
Right.
he read those books if they were covered, not even dust, they were covered in cobwebs.
Right, and someone would have come looking for him, like, "What are you doing? Why are you
But
trying to read them books?"
But he also didn't read every book, not if they're covered in cobwebs.
You remember Idiocracy when he's like trying to read a sign?
Yeah,
And the buddy's like, "Why are you trying to read them
Yeah.
words?"
yeah.
And he's like, "Until I read one book." She's like, "What book?" As she's like,
We see
taking
him
her top
ripping,
off.
we see him ripping it up, but he's denying remembering it.
Right? Yeah. So he's denying the memory. He's trying to suppress it as she's probing his mind. She's like, "What was the book?" "No." "Tell me, what was the book?" "No."
Can't remember.
"Can't remember." "Yeah, you do remember. What was the book?" And so she's getting ready to like bang him, probably to seduce him for interrogation.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how rough or how argumentative he'll be towards you. If you're a woman in this movie, you wanted to bang this guy. Every woman wanted to. He was getting felt up by every fucking woman.
"Well, that's right, Slasher. Women don't want a simp or a pushover."
All right, but then he was turned into a slave, though. So
Yeah, but they couldn't hold him down.
No, they
And,
couldn't hold him down. Zardoz himself couldn't hold him down.
Yeah. So as he's fighting off this memory, and she's trying to, honeypot it out of him, suddenly someone else enters the room, and we see it's the brunette, the one who doesn't like him. She's like, "What are you doing?"
Okay. The tug of war.
Yeah.
The tug of war scene.
Yeah, she just sees them with the blanket over the two of them.
And she tug of war. Oh God.
She's like, "What are you doing? Why are your tits
All right,
out?"
give me 1 second. Just go ahead and explain it. Just go ahead.
She's like, we were just talking. And so they engage in a fight. And so, Zed is a man of brute strength, and the brunette is a woman of psychic power. And so she grabs the one end of the sheet, and Zed grabs the other end of the sheet, and they begin essentially a tug of war, where he's pulling on it with his muscles, and she's sort of pulling on it and trying to weaken his mind with her mind, and they're locked together, pulling on this sheet, and they go around and around, and it's very odd. But who wins the tug of war, Carol?
I forget. It's him, right?
I think so. Tommy, do you remember?
I don't even know. You put me on the spot. Screw you.
Well, there's no way that no bird is going to win that fight, because it takes a real man with masculine action to win that fight.
You're doing Schwarzenegger again.
No woman's mind is strong enough to beat me in a tug of war. Screw your freedoms.
Also, this woman's name was Consuela.
Oh yeah, Consuela. The brunette is Consuela, played
There's
by
like 3
Charlotte
more hours
Rampling.
in this movie left, you guys.
Every
British
There's
Consuela.
not 3 more hours left of this movie.
No, it was under 2 hours, and yeah. So I think I don't remember either one of them really winning the tug. I mean, I think because they're fighting a battle of brute strength versus mind, that it's kind of a stalemate. That's why they go around in circles for so long. But
Let's just say this movie gets weirder and weirder.
yeah, and
Motherfucker is like ends the movie shooting himself inside a crystal. Wait, sorry, spoiler alert.
yeah. Well, I think it's the guy with where half his face is old. He tells him how to get to the sort of like the mainframe computer that runs the whole place.
That's right. They all try to trap him inside the greenhouse bubble.
Yeah.
All the society tries to trap him inside the greenhouse bubble and pin him down. And he
Right.
punches through the greenhouse bubble. They're like, he has superhuman strength. It's
Well,
a
'cause-
bubble. It's a
well,
plastic bubble.
well, right before that, the redhead had given him this tiny little leaf, and she says, your strength
Oh,
is
yeah,
great,
the
but
right time or something.
but it will eventually fail you. When the time is right, take this. And she hands him a
Well,
little
first
leaf.
of all, he eats the leaf after he breeds like 70 people.
Right. So yeah, they try to trap him in one of these plastic bags, but he is of enough strength. He punches through it, and they are shocked, and they crap their pants. He punches right through it. It's another invisible barrier.
But it's a plastic bubble. Why are they so shocked that he could punch his way through a plastic bubble?
Because no one has ever done that before.
No one's ever punched through a plastic bubble before?
They're in the future.
Oh, well, I guess.
Because everyone is soy.
You beat me to it. I was about to say, because how soy everyone is. You beat me to it already. Yunjin
Right.
spirit.
Yeah, he's like the first real man they've ever seen. And yeah, so he busts out.
He's very hairy. He is very
Yeah.
hairy.
Oh yeah, dude, the Cindy Lou Who is like stroking his chest hair and like curling it around her fingers.
Stroking his chest around most of his
So
fucking.
is the other guy.
That
Right.
dude
Well,
stroking
and
his chest.
yeah. So not only do any of the other men have facial hair, they don't have chest hair either. They're all smooth. They're like the Eloy from the Time Machine, right? They're like this soft, effeminate society, except that they have they have knowledge. They're like learned, and but and they're in charge, and so it's like an inversion of the Time Machine, right? Where the Morlocks were the brutes, but they were in charge, and they ate the Eloy. In this case, it's like if the Eloy were in charge. And then where Connery came from, the brutes, those would be like the Morlocks, and they were subservient to, to the people of Vortex. But yeah, that's right. So yeah, they try to trap him because the brunette ain't having it. Consuela ain't having it, and
Every time I hear Consuela, I think of the housekeeper from Family Guy.
yeah, dude, that's exactly what I was thinking. And so he busts out of the bag and runs off, and so they mount up on horses. Well, first he runs up to a horse and he sprays like powder or dust in the air so they
You
lose
know what
sight of
this
him.
movie was missing?
What?
Him in a bear costume, punching bitches in the
Oh,
face.
yeah, I agree. I agree.
There was a severe lack of bear costume bitch punching.
And what's funny? While we were watching Wicker Man, I mentioned how much the Wicker Man is like Midsummer. I forgot there is a guy in a bear suit in Midsummer.
Oh
Yeah,
Jesus!
there is.
There
You're
is.
gonna make me watch this shit now?
Dude,
Oh,
yeah,
it's so
you should totally
fucked up,
watch
too.
Midsummer.
Oh yeah, you have to watch it.
Yeah,
It's
I mean, there's
it's a
there's
movie.
like, yeah, it's like it's kind of like in like Sweden. So it's sort of like Wicker Man, but in Sweden, there is no Wicker Man per se.
but there's a bear costume,
There's a bear costume. Yep.
Oh,
and he's going on a rampage punching people. Okay, that's all I gotta hear.
Well, just watch it.
That's enough to make me watch a movie.
It is very. I didn't realize until I saw Wicker Man how similar they are, but it is also different in critical ways. So it's like
Well,
Ari Aster's take on Wicker Man.
That's how we led to this movie.
Yeah.
It's because we watched Wicker Man last week and we had the similarities.
Right.
Midsummer
And,
fucking my head up.
So he runs off. He makes a big cloud of dust or powder or cocaine, and they lose sight of him.
Yeah,
He
was it?
disappears into the wood. Yeah, the powder was cocaine. Yes, I read my mind. And
The Immortals had cocaine.
oh yeah, dude, if I was immortal, that's all I would ever do. I'm not gonna die.
Oh,
So, yeah, and it's funny that B2 says that because it's at that point that they get really amped up because they start chasing him, right? And they mount up on horses. You know, he runs off through the woods. And they're
oh, that's why they went into the psycho rampage, chasing him, turning into barbarians themselves. 'Cause
Right.
they were all coked out. It's
Right.
like Tony Montana and the end scene of Scarface.
right. And so this peaceful society has now become like barbarians. They're riding after him on horses. They have torches. They're busting out all the windows and
They're
ransacking all the
destroying
buildings. It's like a
destroying all the
BLM riot. And
Destroying
they're
all the statues of the gods. Oh yeah, just like a BLM riot. They're destroying statues. They're taking out statues too.
Yep. and they're doing it just looking for him though. And you know, so they've completely changed now. And
I'm probably gonna get banned for saying that.
yeah, we're probably good now. And they're ransacking everything looking for him. And so he runs off through the woods, and he comes upon he comes upon like a building, I think.
See, this I told you, and at one point in the movie, it was like, this is
Yeah.
happening, this is happening, this is happening, and I was
Yeah.
like,
Okay, so none of us remember the moment.
how everything is going on right now, I'm losing track.
Yeah, it's very abstract, right?
They hate him and love him. In one scene, they will hate him 5 times and love him like 3.
Yeah. So he finds. I don't remember where he finds this building,
This
but
guy's
he.
journey is fucking nuts.
Yeah, and it gets even weirder by the end. So he finds. I guess a building. I don't remember where he finds it, but
Also, we see he does have revenge on his mind because he had his troops lined up at the force field.
right.
And then he went over to the force field and waved them along to the side.
Right, yeah, he does. He goes back to the barrier and he gives them like sign language hand signals, and so they take off and they get in position.
But this was later on, though, after he had ran up and hit it like first person style, like that, like, you know.
Right. So he finds like the secret building inside of which is was it the redhead?
Don't even remember.
Or was it was I think the Sanilu who was in there. But yeah, he finds this building and he's welcomed by a woman, and she takes him past all of these old statues. They look like, you know, Greco-Roman statues of gods. Like these are all the old gods, and he
Okay, the one you're talking about, the one that he told to leave that actually left, right? Because she gathered a couple of her crew and they left.
okay. And
I don't remember any of this.
It was the woman who paralyzed him the first time when he was by the water.
Consuela.
No. It was
Oh,
the
I have
other.
no idea.
It was the other woman, the one who wanted to 69 him.
Oh, okay, the redhead. Yeah.
Yeah. He like talked to her and gathered her and her crew out of there, and they all rode on horses out. Or so there were animals because they rode on horses out of there.
Okay. Let me see what her name was. Oh, May. Her name was May.
Okay, yeah, men. That's it.
Okay. All right.
He gathered her and told her to get on out of there.
Right. While everyone else is like rioting and ransacking.
Yeah, and she had a couple of her Dionne Warwick psychic friends go out with her. into the nether regions, into the wasteland.
Okay, so do they run a train on him before he meets the man?
Oh, when the old people were gonna fucking gangbang him? Holy shit!
No, not the old people. I mean, because when he finds this
No,
building,
the old people were gonna. It looked like they were ready to do a fucking prison style.
oh, I didn't even pick up on that. Hail the Sentinel.
Oh, what's up, Sentinel? How you doing?
And oh yeah, okay. So yeah, when he gets there, they take him in and they. So oh yeah, while he's in the hall of all these statues, May comes up to him and she's like pointing his own revolver at him, and he just sort of doesn't flinch, and he sort of pushes the revolver out of the way, and she says, "Will you inseminate all of us? And we will teach you all of our knowledge."
See, this movie was so all over the place that I thought that had already happened. Trying to remember what we just watched.
Yeah. So she's about to shoot him, and I don't think he even says anything. He just kind of grabs the
No,
gun.
he said something. He's like, "Oh, bring me death." Or he says something like that.
Oh yeah. Bring you down. And she says, "Will you inseminate all of us?"
Yeah,
He's
we'll teach you everything we know. If
Yeah,
you inseminate all of us.
Moira's like, "What the fuck?" And he's like, "Well, okay." And so then they basically
This movie is a big what the fuck.
yeah, so all of these women like run a train on him, right? So they all gather up his seed,
Yeah.
and then it cuts
Sperm.
to
Collect your sperm. And then
that's
all
what I call a Tuesday night.
banging 70 birds. Oh God, you guys got me doing it.
Oh, that's it, those slasher. You know, you gotta bang those birds and give it to them. But, you know, because that's what they want. They want a real man, not these soy-nids.
All right, so yeah, and
Right,
he
well-
never gets exhausted. He never gets tired.
And
just keeps going.
They're giving him Matrix type lessons of
Yeah.
everything they know.
Right. Yeah, so then it gets kind of abstract where you just see like each of them one by one in like in front of a dark background with images projected on their face and bodies of what they're teaching him, right? So you see one has like calculus projected on her. This is what I meant when I said the special effects they're not done in post. They're done like in the shot. And you see one it's like, art history, and then you see like, actual like history, and you see all the different like arts and sciences projected on these women one by one as they all teach him everything they know, right? So he's getting like a massive download of all human knowledge in exchange for a massive download of his seed.
The shit.
Yes, the seed.
Dropping sperm.
Don't worry, there's enough to go around. And so
Yeah, Moira, go ahead. Drop the link.
and
You're
so,
mine. Drop links, Moira.
right. So now he's gone from being just a brute to being, we know he's already like read books in the library. Now he's had a massive info dump from these women. So he's very learned now. And so then he's wandering off, his job is done. So, he leaves them, probably promises to call, but he won't. And he wanders off through the hall of statues again. And he sees, one of the statues reaches out and grabs his hand. And he turns to it, and he grabs the face, and he peels the face off, and underneath you see the drawn-on goatee.
We see it's Zardoz himself.
It's Zardoz. He's alive, and he's here.
And that stone statue had Zardoz.
Right. Yeah. Oh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that's the symbolism. He's inside of a statue. Right. Right. And he's like, ah, yes.
And that was very Wizard of Oz. That was very Wizard of Oz like. Because we see that the whole thing is the connection of the Wizard of Oz.
Right. Because we go back and he shows us the past, and we fill in the rest of the memory. The person that in the library that was holding that first book in the air for him to read, so he could learn the alphabet. It was Zardoz all along. It was him. He's like, I was your friend in the library. Dun dun dun. And it was part of his plan to let Zed sneak into the head.
And also, this time Zardoz isn't wearing swimming trunks on his head. He's wearing a top hat.
Right, a top hat. Yes, like like from like the 30s. Top hat and tails, and he's still very flamboyant. But
he's extra flamboyant.
And he reminds him, what was the book? The book that took away your innocence. And he's like, no. He remembers tearing it up, but then finally he accepts it, and we see that the book. It's not the Bible. If any of you thought it was the Bible, it is the Wizard of Oz.
The Wizard of Oz.
Mind blown.
And he actually puts his fingers over Wizard of Oz and spells out the words Zardoz.
Right. Yeah. He puts his left thumb over the W-I and his right thumb over the of.
And that
says Zardoz.
That's where watching this movie I had my Donnie Wahlberg at the end of Sixth Sense inspiration. I was like, oh shit, it was him the whole time.
Yep. And so the whole idea of like the big booming voice, creating the big lie to keep society going. It was that the idea had basically come from the Wizard of Oz, and so that was when he knew that his life was a lie, and that his world was not as he had been told, and that's why he lost his innocence.
Innocence.
Right. So now he knows the truth, and he has all of this knowledge, and Zardoz holds up like a glass sphere. And he's like, what else do you have to teach me? And he's like,
what do you see inside the crystal ball?
Right.
Nothing. Then I have nothing to tell you.
Yep. So he's learned all that he can from Zardoz, and from the women, and from all the books. So he goes into another room, like the mainframe room. And I just call it that. It doesn't look like a mainframe room. It kind of looks like I don't know. It's like an immaculately decorated room, but he finds this big fat diamond. This big old huge cut diamond. And it starts talking to him, just like the rings do. The diamond rings. And he asks it questions like I don't think I can really hear the questions, honestly, but it's like, what, how do I put an end to this place? And he's like, I cannot answer that question. What are you? I cannot answer that question.
Drawing him into the diamond, the crystal. Oh, sorry, they call it the crystal.
Right. He starts to realize that this is like the mainframe computer of Vortex, that it's run by this crystal, because all these diamond rings were computers. This is like the supercomputer. Right? And so this must be what's running everything, creating the
kind of like Green Lantern type shit, right?
Yeah. Yeah, this is probably what's, maintaining the force field at the perimeter. This is what probably runs all the other rings with all the database inside and allows them to communicate. And so it begins drawing him in, like Slasher said. It's sort of, it sort of communicates into his mind. And he sees the beginning of this civilization, where many of the old senile people from the Renegade House are younger there, and they're
also like how the old senile people are called the Renegades.
Yeah, that is cool.
When you hear a name, the Renegades, you would expect like fucking, I don't know, a Mad Max type looking group. Not a bunch of 75-year-old people in torn ass tuxedos and suits. And one of them was legit in their underwear. There was
Oh, yeah.
There was one dude that was legit just in his underwear and a t-shirt.
Well, it's sort of like in some of these sci-fi movies about like societies, they'll have a word for people who like don't comply, who don't conform. I just remember the one in The Prisoner was unmutual. You are being unmutual. In this case, it's renegades. The people that just they choose not to fit in. They don't conform. They don't follow the rules, like a guinea pig. They're renegades.
Guinea pig.
We don't follow any rules.
Exactly. You could talk at them all you want, but they're gonna follow their own code. And these people were punished. They didn't just get older; like they were punished for not conforming, even though they had created a society. So in the flashback, we see they're all learned scientists, right? They built this place almost like what's the undersea place from BioShock, and it's inspired from like Atlas Shrugged, where the guy takes all of the most brilliant minds on Earth and he takes them from society and puts them all in one place. It kind of felt like that, where these are all of like the most brilliant minds.
Honestly, Darius, I've never played BioShock, so I don't know anything about those games.
Rapture, thank you, Hot Dog. Rapture, yeah, kind of like that. But that idea also goes back to like Ayn Rand. But it kind of felt like that to me, where all of the most learned, not to say the smartest, but the most like academically learned minds of like science and such, got together to create this society. And they put all of their accumulated knowledge into this crystal, and they erased their own memories of how they built it so that they could never destroy it, even if they wanted to die. Right? They could never destroy it even if they wanted to. And so, so they don't even, none of the people there even remember how to do it. And, and they all kind of look like space age hippies, like late 60s space age hippies in the flashback. But he sees this vision, right, of how this, and you recognize the old man in the bed from the Renegade House is like the lead scientist giving this speech at the founding of Vortex. And so then it basically, he goes into
and you still remember more of this movie than I did.
Yeah. Well, then it starts to get even more abstract from that.
Once he was in the crystal, I was like, oh, my head is hurting.
Well, it was kind of ambiguous about like the fact that his mind was going into the crystal, or it was going into his mind, because you just sort of see the flashback and then it cuts back to him and he's seeing like these people sort of like, on black backgrounds with projections on them and reflections floating around, like moaning. He's seeing all these people, and he like walks through the dark space past all of these, images one after another. And it did go on like a couple of minutes too long. But
no, not a couple. Oh my God,
several minutes too long.
And then they went into the moaning again. I had to hear the group moaning in this movie. Unbearable.
Right, and then you see he enters a hall of mirrors.
There are porno movies that don't have group moaning. That bad.
Yeah, and it's still in like a dark black space, except now there's like mirrors there, and some of the mirrors face other mirrors, and so he's looking at his own reflection, but he sees, from different angles the mirrors. Some are they're like arranged in like a radial pattern, right? And so you see his image split all around these mirrors, and then some of them they reflect against each other. So
you compared it to what?
Enter the Dragon, the Hall of Mirrors. And so, it was at this point we kind of realized that, like, oh, his mind is like has been pulled inside the crystal. This is all just like a projection in his subconscious. And then he's got his revolver and he's looking around at his reflection from every angle. And then you see he sort of like he Baldwins the camera again. He raises a gun and And Slasher guessed it a moment before we see it. He's like, oh yeah, he's killing his barbarian self.
Well, yeah, in the first of all, he's in a different outfit. He's in his third outfit of the movie
Oh, the
because
samurai outfit.
he skipped over the bridesmaid outfit that he
That
used
was
to disguise himself. He used the bridesmaid outfit before to disguise himself, getting through to get to the crystal.
oh, that was before. Okay,
So, but all of a sudden he's in
I
a
thought that was
samurai
after.
outfit. But then when he drops into the crystal, he's back in his speedo.
Yeah. And so yeah, you see you see his reflection. He Baldwins the camera.
Oh no, that's right. He's in his samurai outfit, but then we see the barbarians. Well, he has this red mask too when he comes walking through the reflection.
Right, but we see that after he fires at the mirror, and
Yeah.
you see the camera pans over, and Slasher called it. You see him in the in the diaper with the bandoliers, and like the redstone Zardoz head, and then there's a bullet hole, in the mirror with sort of the spiderweb fracture, and blood is coming out of the hole in the mirror, and you see the barbarian version of himself, drops, and so he killed off the barbarian in himself, and that's sort of when he realizes that he's in the crystal, and he asks it like he realizes that it won't answer him if he asks how to destroy it, but he phrases it some other way. He asked it a different question, and it basically gives him the answer indirectly. It says, "Now, do you know why I helped you?" And he's like, "No." And it's because I think even the crystal wanted to die, just like all the old people wanted to die. All of the bored people wanted to die, and I think it had grown tired, and in imbuing it with all of their consciousness, that it was a reflection of them, and that this computer crystal too, it was in their image, so it knew that it wanted the same thing. Basically, it was forbidden in its programming from allowing its own destruction.
It wanted a Kevorkian.
Yeah, but it wanted to be Kevorkian by Zed.
A lot of people wanted the Kevorkian treatment.
Yeah, they did. How did they say it? How did Queen say it in Highlander, Tommy?
Wait, what?
Who wants to live forever? Right? Yeah. Who wants to live forever? So, it tells him. Wait, how does he destroy it?
I can't even. This movie got my head so fucked up once that
Oh yeah.
scene
Yeah. So Consuela and her mob, or as you call them,
right,
Antifa mob.
Rampaging. Yes, her and Antifa are rampaging.
Right, they've got a battering ram, right?
Yeah,
and so
they hate.
Right, and in the door of this place, the outer door is like a mirrored door, and she's like leading the mob, taking a battering ram to the door, right? And it was at that point I'd already said, see, look, they've become the barbarians, right? They've become, they're even carrying the phallic battering ram to penetrate the door. These will penetrate a lot.
I didn't even think about that when they were using that battering ram.
Yeah. And the mirror was reflecting back to them, right? And so, they had become, now that he has sort of killed off his barbarian inside the crystal, now they have become the barbarians.
My barbarian.
Right.
That sounds like a term for when you have a private day to yourself. I gotta go kill up the barbarians.
Right. Right. So, because he had started as the barbarian, and then he learned all there was to learn, right? And so he was able to synthesize the two worlds and walk the middle path, like the Buddha, I guess. Whereas they, were like the pure intellectuals. But in trying to control him and destroy him, they became him. So they bust open the door, they come in, and they tear down all the statues, right? They're tearing them down, the statues of the gods. So they're kind of symbolically destroying their gods. But the crystal was it was like a god they had created to run their society. And so, symbolism. So as they're destroying these effigies the crystal, the vortex crystal itself is also being destroyed, and but he's able to, with his mind now, he's able, now he has psychic powers, Zed, and he's able to sort of rewind
Revert
time.
time. He can
Yeah.
revert time.
Yeah, and you see him. You see the statues all come back together, and everyone sort of like backs up, and it gets really bizarre and abstract at this point.
Yeah.
Well, did you kind of get some of the symbolism that was actually behind the crystal?
What? Maybe. What do you think?
What it was pertaining to? Well, at the time, when this is made, one of the big things that everybody was always watching all the time was TV, and they were constantly talking about the dangers of people that just sit in front of TV all the time and treat it almost like as if it's their church or if it's a god. So
Right.
I think that's really what he was kind of hinting at.
A god of our own creation.
Yeah, like with entertainment.
Right. Okay. It is just like the golden calf, right? The created god, and so yeah, it needed to be destroyed, and just as they're destroying all of the effigies of the old Greco-Roman gods. And then that also, what you just said, ties in with all the themes of reflection too. So, but yeah, he rewinds time. The statues come back together, and Consuela comes in to kill him. Like she finds him in this room by himself. She comes in with like a knife to stab him, and then he just turns around and gives her a look, and she stops.
No, he says she's about to stab him in the neck while he's looking at the crystal ball. And he's like, "You're not gonna kill me."
Oh wait, is that the moment when he starts to rewind time?
Stop yourself from killing him.
Yeah. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he sees her reflection.
And then all of a sudden, she's madly in love with him and incites the mob away from him. She tells him, "He's like, no, he's
because
gone."
women like a man who's
Yeah.
boss.
He takes charge and he's like, "You're not gonna kill me." She doesn't kill him.
Nope. She just splooshes, and then he takes
Oh,
her,
yeah. And then they probably banged. We didn't get to see it, but whatever.
Yep.
No. He doesn't kill her because he's seen the nipple. That's what it always comes back to. It starts and it ends with the nipple.
Every woman in that movie was not afraid to show their nipples, so.
No, not at all. Not even a little bit. And so so they run off. I know that he lets out all of the renegades, all the old people.
He let a lot of things out in this movie.
Yeah, and in some of the really more abstract symbolism, for a moment you see like a bride in a dress, and the guy with half of his face old, who wanted the gift of death. He says, "I choose death," and then he pulls back the veil, and it's Zed. It's really bizarre. So like he's like committed. He's committed to death, right? And so I guess Zed is committed to bringing death. He's made a promise. So all the renegades are out, and they're on the loose, and then all of the Consuela's gang is on the loose.
Consuela's gang.
Yeah. And everyone meets at like this little pond or like a fountain in the middle of like a courtyard. Everyone's gathered around in a circle, and you see Cindy Lou Who is like standing on a platform in the middle, and she's like, "Please, I want to die." So she wants to be Kevorkian. And Zed it's time to fulfill his promise to bring the gift of death. But he's evolved. The hero's journey,
He had a line too before he said,
what was the line?
"Everything I was has been taken from me," or something like that.
Yeah.
He
So he's
along those lines.
right.
and
So the hero always has to die and be reborn. So he's no longer the man he was.
He's not going to pull the trigger, but we
then-
see a trigger gets pulled.
Right. And hold on, let me see. Where do I have that thing? and we see it's not him. He didn't do it. He didn't pull the trigger. So who could have done it? And then we see over from the trees, we see all these red stone masks appear.
Red diaper crew.
Riding in on horses with their shotguns. It's
Here
them.
Here comes the red diapers.
Yep. So when he destroyed the crystal, it dropped the barrier around the village. And so all of those horsemen that were his guys lined up, they were able to come in. And now they have brought the gift of death, which was the purpose for which they were created. And now they do.
Yeah, and they're welcoming it too.
Oh, yeah.
They're like,
It's a bloodbath.
they're all Dr. Kevorkian's patients. They're all celebrating
Yep.
while they get
yeah.
massacred.
Yep. So all of the renegades are happy. You know, they're happy they got what they wanted. And then all of the apathetics are happy they got what they wanted. But other people that may not have wanted it, they also get it. There's women and men getting just mowed down, right? It's like, it's like a full Columbine happening.
There wasn't a lot of gun action till that point in the movie. So there were guns, but there wasn't a lot of gun action until that point.
Yeah, no, we even get one for the Dead Boob Society. One woman gets shot,
That's true.
and she falls down and.
Well, there
sprawls
might
out.
be more if you're also considering all the vacuum sealed dead boobs we had.
Well, yeah, if they were dead.
They were dead, yeah.
Okay. Right, and so Zed takes Consuela and they run off. And they find a cave. They go inside and they.
This was so stupid.
Yeah, they go in the cave and they just hide out in the cave.
This was so fucking stupid.
And they never leave. You just see them sitting there holding hands.
No, we see that she's pregnant.
Oh, yeah, immediately.
This is like a 15-second scene.
Yeah, she's immediately pregnant.
Pregnant, and they have a baby. Then it's a toddler. Then it's a preteen. And it's a teenager. And they're wearing these green robes the whole time, but it's the same. It's like the same shot, but with like a different kid in between them.
Yeah, I don't know where they got these robes. These were custom. You never see them before.
Where did they get those robes living in that cave? As like refugees. Like,
yeah.
What the fuck?
You just see them symbolically. They're just sitting there holding hands. You know, their baby grows into a man and then leaves, and then they just get hold.
Skeletons holding hands.
Yeah, they're just skeletons with hair holding
and
hands.
They both have long white hair. Yeah.
And then you see.
Flying fuck.
Then the camera pans over to the wall of the cave, and you just see these two outlines of white handprints. Like a cave painting, you know, like human civilization is starting over again from scratch.
Good God, that ending scene with them aging.
Yeah, that was very condensed, right? But it's it makes you think. You know, we've been around for 200,000 years, 1,000,000 years. You know, like how many times throughout all of those hundreds of thousands of years. You know, has civilization repeated itself, you know, ended and then had to start over again.
I don't know.
And how long until
that
we become psychic again?
I don't know what to think about this movie. I don't know what to think about it. I mean, I do think it was the right type of pick for this stream. Though.
Yeah, well, dude, I like the movie.
I appreciate you picking this one.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically a sci-fi movie, but it's like a certain kind, you know, where it's kind of light on the science, but it's like an allegorical, you know, movie about society. It's very British.
I think I could compare not all the sets, but kind of the setting, if that makes any sort of sense. The setting is kind of like Crow, ish. Like, because in the beginning of Crawl, there was a fucking mountain base. The base was a mountain, but it flew through the air and like landed.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I don't know what to take away from this. It didn't look bad. Like the effects were okay.
It was not good.
Dude, I enjoy
I won't disagree with you there, Kyle.
okay, I kind of like the abstract stuff, because I think making a movie that's avant-garde, as much as it may be kind of pretentious, I also think it's kind of ballsy, to take studio money and making a movie that not everyone's gonna get.
I'm just saying I don't know what to take away from.
Well, I've been watching a lot of like David Lynch movies lately, and in some ways it's less weird than those. In some ways it's more weird.
All right. Say if I have a choice between this and say like the Super Mario Brothers movie, the Bob Hopkins. I don't know. I'm gonna say like maybe I would watch this one again.
Dude, I would watch the Mario Brothers movie again, but not as a Mario movie. Oh, Tommy's got to go. Tommy, thank you for joining us.
Tommy.
All right, I'll catch you later, y'all.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming through, man.
No. It was fun. Definitely a weird movie.
Well,
Not exactly what I was expecting.
I also got to say, Tommy, thank you for asking to come on because I told people ask if you want to come through.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I used to be able to stop by for these all the time, and then I've been getting tied up with so many other things lately. So it's been a mess. But nah, like anytime I do have the opportunity to be able to swing by and watch these things and talk about them, yeah, I'm gonna take you up on that. But guys, have a good one. Everybody in the chat, awesome seeing y'all. Have an awesome.
Tommy. Before you go, what's your grade for this movie?
I would say probably about a 6. I mean, it definitely had some problems. It did have a lot of good insinuations towards other things and inflections for them. So I think that alone is really what makes it worth watching at least once. But it definitely did have a few problems as far as the way the script bounced around a little bit.
I agree.
But all right, man. Y'all have a good one.
Have a good Tommy.
Bye.
Take care, y'all. See you, Carol.
See you later.
Thanks for coming through, bro.
No problem. Be well.
You too, man. But so Darius, this is you would say the second time you sat through this one.
Yeah, I think I saw it long ago. I was probably about 22, 23. Probably watch it with a couple beers. And yeah, I'd never quite seen a movie like this. Obviously, I like sci-fi movies. I like movies that are a little weird. I like Sean Connery.
Either. I will agree with you there. I don't think I've seen a movie like this.
Yeah, and because IFC probably played it. They used to play stuff that was a little, out of the ordinary, and so I would watch stuff. But yeah, it was a movie I had never heard of it. No one had ever talked about it, and it had a weird name, Zardoz. What does that even mean, right? 74, Sean Connery. Oh, sure, I'll check it out. Yeah, it had Connery in it, and right away I'm like, oh, this is not James Bond. This is something else. It was like psychedelic.
Red diaper. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very psychedelic, and yeah, it was pretty unique, even with the themes that it has in common with other with literature and other sci-fi movies. It does it in a way that's pretty unique, especially visually. So, and it's a bit intertextual, because it references the Wizard of Oz in the movie.
Yeah, I guess I should have realized the symbolism from the giant floating head in the sky. Goes Zardoz, Zardoz. I guess I should have got
Well,
that.
I think you're supposed to feel that way, right? It seems obvious once you see it, but I didn't figure it out either. The first time.
But you liked it?
Yeah, I like this movie. Yeah, it's weird. I like him weird. I like him a little abstract. You know,
I still can't tell if I liked it or not. In
I
a
would say
bad or,
this is a
in a
bold
bad or
movie.
good way. Carol, you didn't like it, right?
I did not care for this movie. I will not watch it again.
Was there too much dolphin love?
Too much dolphin love, and it's just no, not for me. Sorry.
Would you like it more if it had Sean Connery's bare ass?
I'd like it more if it was a different movie.
What if he actually got the happy ending in that opening scene?
No. I didn't enjoy any of this movie. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know what I don't know what to take away.
Yeah, I no, not digging it.
Well, it couldn't have a happy ending because it's very British. Only American movies have the happy ending guaranteed.
Not all
Like
American.
I didn't like the
Wow.
costumes. I didn't like this movie. It sucked.
Yeah, the wardrobe was a little.
Soy.
And is that what they thought the future was going to be like?
Who the fuck knows?
Well, it's just, I mean, it's hypothetical, you know. It's sort of an artistic
No.
presentation of
No.
a possible
I'm
future.
trying to defend the movie. It was terrible.
It's a symbolic future.
No, it's bad. Bad.
Well, you know, it's not even. It's kind of like.
It was bad.
It's yeah.
The future is all
I'm not
diapers.
disagreeing, Cal. I don't think the movie. I seriously can't. I have to debate this with myself. Whether this movie was good, bad, or bad.
I mean, it's a commentary on masculinity and femininity. And,
I don't think I was supposed to laugh as much as I did watching this movie.
you know, freedom versus
I think this is an
civilization.
unintentional comedy. And I'm not even talking about the material and all. I'm talking about the wardrobes. The wardrobes are just, oh my God. He ran around in that fucking diaper for 95% of this fucking movie.
The
He's
future's all
serving
diapers.
potatoes to people. He's dragging some dude on a rickshaw in his red diaper. I don't know. That alone, this is an unintentional comedy.
I think the DVD has like an interview with John Borman about it, where he gets a comment on it like 40 years later.
I guess we're helping him keep his dream alive, right? By talking about this movie.
Dude, and it is the kind of movie that it like sticks. I don't know about you, but it sticks in my memory. It's
Well, I'm gonna remember this movie.
yeah.
As much as I forgot as everything was going on, just the gist of this movie and the really spectacular scenes, those ones stand out in my mind.
Yeah, and you see why I thought of this movie when we were watching Wicker Man, right? Because of some of like the themes of like the matriarchal society, and you know,
It was bad.
it was a more, you know, it was more high tech, I guess, in some ways. There really wasn't very much technology. In fact, there wasn't really any technology that looked like technology. You know, like you have the crystals that project images. But that's about it. Everything else is kind of psychic and.
But overall, what's your personal rating for this movie?
Mine?
Yeah.
Oh man. I'll probably give it a 7 out of 10.
Carol's gonna give it like
What?
a negative 32.
I'm giving it like negative a bazillion.
Oh my goodness.
Like I want this movie to be erased from my memory.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry, I hated it.
So every other movie we watched before this was good.
Oh, it's so much better than this.
You have a basket case?
I didn't see that one.
Oh. We should watch it now and see if it's If you think it's
Okay, I
better.
think I will say that. Oh man, actually, I don't know.
I want a refund.
A refund
All
of
right.
your time. TJP
All
two.
right.
Zardoz is what Klaus envisions as a post-industrial world.
Well, watched a bunch of shit so far.
Yeah, hey, this is what Hollywood. This is the future Hollywood wants for us, Carol. They want this androgynous society where everyone knows their role and where
No, stop it. Stop
the
talking.
mind
Stop
can be controlled.
Shh.
All right. Before we go, Darius, what is the worst movie we have watched so far? Watching this, would you say it was Basket Case?
Yeah, in my opinion, it was Basket Case.
I might agree with you there. Actually, no. I disagree now. Now I'm saying Driller Killer was the worst one. Driller Killer was one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
That's because
Okay,
we watched
yeah.
the wrong one.
It
Yeah,
was
but
it.
It didn't even matter. I'm sorry, that band and that fucking
Wait, what
Eight
about the
Car-
one that didn't have the flamethrower?
The Exterminator. Yeah, fuck that movie too, but it was still better than The Exterminator was better than Basket Case and Driller Killer. I will say that.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, so you know what? I forgot about Driller Killer. So the thing about that one was, I kind of it's kind of like Schrodinger's bad movie because the version that we saw, I think it could be it probably is worse than the Basket Case.
Really though, what did we miss with the extra missing minutes? We missed more drills going into someone's head slowly while Kool-Aid pours out of somebody's face wound.
Right. Yeah. All the money shots of that movie were missing from the version that we were able to get. So, yeah, the version that we saw, I probably was worse than Basket Case.
Basket Case wasn't the worst. Driller Killer was the worst.
Yeah. Yeah. The
But
version
Basket Case is a close second.
yeah, I will agree with Slasher on that. The version of Driller Killer that we watched was worse than Basket Case, but I'm without seeing like the better
You
full
already know what
version.
it is, right? Is what you're saying. You already know the gist of it. You get it, right?
Yeah, like if I'm holding out the possibility that that the full proper version of Driller Killer could be better than Basket Case, but the limited version that we saw was actually worse.
Yeah, I would
hated
say
this movie.
you hated this one.
Yes, I hated this one. I didn't see Basket Case, so I can't compare. But I hated this one. All of it. The diaper,
All of it.
the rings, the raping. All of it. The sand.
Yeah, see, B2 says Basket Case was fun on VHS. Hot Dog says oof. Yeah, no, I mean, I think even Nate said that Basket Case was not the worst. I think I just really didn't like that one, but I have to agree that Driller Killer, the version of Driller Killer we saw was worse than Basket Case. Yeah.
And yeah, I know they have two more Basket Case movies because those were when we looked it up during the stream when we were talking about Basket Case, and we saw that the only other movies that main guy was in was the other two Basket Case movies.
Yeah.
I don't know. Can I put myself through Basket Case 2 and 3? I don't know.
We actually watched quite a few movies here. What was the one where the woman was like being stalked by a killer, and then we thought it was the husband. And he has the mask on.
Wait, which one?
Oh, I didn't see that one. That was like one of your first ones.
Yeah,
Wait.
that was one where it had like the new wave punk party.
Oh,
And,
yeah. That was
New
in the
Year's-
chat.
New
I
Year's
didn't get to
Eve.
see the movie.
New Year's
New
Evil.
Year's
Yeah, New Year's
Evil.
Eve. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that
so
one
we saw
kinda-
that on New
one-
Year's.
That one sucked, but it didn't suck as bad as some of the other ones. We've seen.
Yeah.
I didn't mind New Year's Evil, but it wasn't too memorable. It's just how I felt about it. But
Did it feel like they set it up for a sequel, but they never got
yeah,
one?
yeah,
Yeah.
because his son was the fucking. At the end, his son was driving the ambulance.
Right. Dun dun dun. Yeah, that was pretty bad, but not the worst.
But no, he has a sex scene in the first one.
Oh. Ooh.
You remember that, Darius? When
I
he leaves
remember.
the blood
Ew,
stain
I don't
on
want to talk about
Wig
any
Girl.
of this anymore.
Remember the girl with the wig, the pathetic girl with the wig that loved that guy from the beginning?
Oh, I remember. And Basket Case had unnecessary wang flopping in the breeze while a guy's jogging down the street of New York. I understood the symbolism of it. I instantly understood it. But
Was it anything to do with boners again?
no, it was just flaccid, floppy wang and pubes while this guy just jogs down the street, right? But it was the psychic link between the two brothers.
Yeah,
right?
between him and
It wasn't actually him, but he was dreaming that it was him because he was
half
getting
bro.
his brother's dreams.
his half bro.
Yeah.
That was left out in a garbage bag, poor guy.
Yeah. Ugh. That movie. Basket Case. B2 says try Chud. I've heard about Chud.
I hear about this movie too. You know what? Maybe I'll take it into consideration. But I have movies lined up, and
Oh, B2, we actually watched this stuff a few weeks ago. It was actually a lot better than I expected.
yeah, we did do that movie.
The Killer Ice Cream.
How you doing, Jasper?
Yeah, Jens said that movie was ahead of its time, and that the stuff was
Yeah, but he got the message wrong. His message was about the soy.
the soy.
The message was about consumerism. The whole thing was about consumerism.
Yeah, Slasher, well, don't consume the soy.
The soy stuff.
I need to go get something to eat, you guys.
All right.
Okay.
Tonight.
Yeah.
I'm starving.
Move on, Turk. This person.
Wheat Bubble has appeared once before.
They have.
Sherry. Full custom hot dogs. They just say full custom hot dogs. We got people named Queef and full custom hot dogs. Yeah. Moira. Oh, Carol. Carol, thank you for joining us. And hating this movie. This is the first movie that you disapproved of because you liked all the other fun, stupid
I know,
shit
but
that-
I absolutely hated this one. But thanks for having
Well,
me.
you're not the only one, Carol, because a lot of critics found it confusing and didn't like it.
It was bad.
Him. BJB2. Sentinel.
Basically, it was just too much.
And sorry, Jacksonville is shutting down right now. Well, thank you for checking out the 5 seconds.
Oh my God, Slasher. Pauline Kael, the famous film critic, said that the script of this movie lacks the human dimensions that would make us care about the big visual sequences, and burdened the actors with unspeakable dialogue, and also remarked that Connery acts like a man who agreed to do something before he grasped what it was.
That's what I was saying. Like I did that. Like he got Burt Reynolds' script. He got the script that was written for Burt Reynolds.
Yeah, confirmed.
He got the script that was written for Burt Reynolds, and I guess he just couldn't adapt it. Because he looked really awkward. There it is. This motherfucker's eyes. He wasn't blinking certain times. I mean, I guess was that what he was supposed to do? Who knows? There was a lot of weird choices with this one.
Well, I appreciate you taking my suggestion last week and watching this. I think it was an appropriate follow-up to The Wicker Man.
Yeah,
And
that's how we got here.
and thank you for doing the show and for having me along, as always.
You're the co-host.
Yeah, I got some new hardware coming in the mail, so should be good
Yeah.
news when I
Okay.
install it. Yeah, yeah. I got a 850 watt power supply, fully modular. It's already on the way. So stay tuned, folks.
And Jack's Law, I don't know. I'm very undecided about this movie.
Well, it was made in '74 and had a very late '60s vibe to it. So I think it might have already been dated when it came out. And like Charlotte Rampling is associated with like the swinging '60s.
And Carol, Swamp.
Hi. This movie was terrible, but I wouldn't have missed it for nothing. I like hanging out with these guys. They're stupid.
All right,
Yeah,
so
that's it.
Darius picked this movie, so I think you're next on the list to pick a movie. But you got to pick a movie that is. It doesn't have to be universally bad. It can
Okay.
be questionably bad.
I'll come up with something. Give me a day.
Gotcha.
All right.
All right. See you next week, folks.
Bye, everybody.
Good night, everyone.